Pistol, Civilization 7 is performing worse than 6. Yep, you heard it here. Also, it's performing worse than Overwatch 2, which is supposedly a dead game. But Civilization 7 is a failure. We all know this, okay? I know there are some people who will grab the copium and say it isn't, but these are the numbers. We can compare it to the last entry in the series, which they have been doing this whole time, and how Civilization 7 is doing far worse than Civilization 6. It's doing far worse in Civilization 6, and its launch week, Civilization 7 performed far worse than Civilization 6, okay, as well. We can compare, you have the data, the numbers are in, okay. The launch week peak was like 86,000, Civ 6 was 160,000. Yep, half of the last game, okay, half. It is performing half of Civilization 6, okay. It doesn't help that half of the people who played the game didn't like the game, don't like the changes and unnecessary amount of changes they made to Civilization 7. But I think this game is a real wake-up call for gaming. Okay, Civilization 7 and also Evolved, which we talk about Evolved. But there are tons of people who are fans of history. Because Civilization is a niche franchise, okay? It is mostly for history fans. Most of the fans of Civilization are probably mostly men, okay? There are probably women who do play Civilization, but it's not very many because most of the people who are interested in history-esque games are men, and that's most of the people who probably play Hearts of Iron 4 and games like that, okay? And of course CSGO, I think mostly men play CSGO, because women basically get kicked out of servers, okay, as well. Games like Overwatch 2, I think, have a more balanced player base, or Marvel Rivals, which they have more wide appeal. But a game like Civilization is a game that mostly appeals towards a more male-oriented audience, obviously. And I think most of those people outside do not like the changes. They do not like the changes they made to Civilization 7, and they do not like all the changes and unnecessary changes they made to the game. And guess what? The game's basically a week old, and is now doing worse than 6. Yes, this is the biggest, most damning piece of evidence we have ever had for Civilization 7. It's still doing far better than Civilization 5, which is like 16,000 daily. But the fact that Civ 6 was released in 2016 is performing better than Civilization 7. And yes, people can make the excuse, but Civilization 6 was released during the holidays. But again, most of its players were around the first couple of weeks when the game came out. That was the peak interest for the game. It has never gotten that peak interest back. And yes, the game could revitalize itself like Cyberpunk did. Remember, Cyberpunk was a huge failure, but they managed to revive the game, and the game at least has somewhat of a popularity. But the fact that Civ 7 is doing this poorly compared to Civ 6 really speaks volumes that this game isn't doing as well as Civ 6. And Civ 7 is only going to continue to fall, and fall, and fall, and fall, which is going to be pretty embarrassing. Kind of like Dragon Age: The Valley God did. And that game has nowhere to be seen on Steam's charts. Goodbye.